Hello fashion bosses, welcome to today's tutorial. My name is Faith Abraham. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching us how to make the simple but beautiful straight pencil gown you saw on the thumbnail, but with some modifications here and there. We're not going to be using a lotion on the upper part, but we're also going to be introducing hip and butt allocation. Okay, all right. Before we get started up, we're actually using a princess that's bustier um method, okay? But before we get into the cutting, I'd like to appreciate all you out there as subscribers. We say a very big thank you to you. Thank you for always stopping by our channels. Thank you for the likes, thank you for the share, thank you for the thumbs up, and thank you for the love. We appreciate you. And if this is your first time on this channel, you are not here by mistake, okay? We encourage you to please kindly subscribe. Tap on the subscription button and then tap on the bell. The bell actually helps you get notification each time we drop new videos. You'll be the first to know. On this channels we upload sewing tutorials and headwear tutorials. Headwear tutorials such as hat making, turban, auto gele, fascinator, and anything that is basically used to adorn the hair, including some Ankara crafts and all of that. So you are actually in the right place. Thank you so very much. Having said that, let us go straight into the project. So I already have my basic bodies drafted out, okay, all marked out already on my fabric, okay, like you can see, okay. I believe this is what a lot of us, or almost all of us, are used to, we are familiar with, okay. All right, so I'll just do a bit of recap. So I have from here to here my bust line, from the shoulder line. So this is the shoulder line as starting point where all measurements is starting from. Then from the shoulder line to this part is a bust point. From the shoulder line to this part is a under bust, and then to the blouse length is actually an half length. We're adding it to, attaching it to a skirt. And then we have here a neckline 3 by 3 inches. The depth is 3, the width is 3. We have here 1 inch already sloped, and then we have the armhole already curved out. That is it basically. And then we came in here by 0.7 inch. We have a detailed tutorial on how to draft a basic body, on the channel. You can watch and bring yourself up to speed. So at this point now, we're just going to do a bit of alteration and modifications here and there to turn it into a princess that's bustier, okay, which is actually what we want to do in today's class. A princess that bustier is what we're using for the dress, okay. So I'll just impute my distance between bust. The distance between bust is 7 inches. So if we divide 7 inches by 3, we are going to be having, we divide 7 inches by 2, I'm sorry, pardon me, we are going to be having 3.5 inches, and then we are going to add 0.5 inch to it to make it a total of 4 inch. And then we are going to mark that on our bust line, and then bring the same 4 inches down to the waist line, and then square it up to have a straight line this way, okay. So having gotten our bust span line, we are going to come to our armhole curve and measure what we have there, like this. From here to here, measure it this way, round to this point. So we have 9.5 inches there. So we are going to divide that 9.5 inches by 2, and then that is going to give us 4.7 inches. If we divide 9.5 inches by 2, we are going to get 4.75 inches exactly. 4.75 inches. And then I'm also going to add 1 inch to that 4.75 inches, and then I'll have a total of 5.75 inches, which is here. Okay, so basically we have a detailed tutorial on how to draft a princess dart bustier on the channel. You can also, watch that, and you will actually learn 1 or 2 things from it. I will do good or do well to drop the link, in the comment section, so you find it easily. So having done this, we are going to connect the line. But before we connect, on my bust span line, I'm going to come down by 1 inch here. Okay, coming down by 1 inch on my bust span line. On my bust span line, I came down by 1 inch, which is here. So I'm going to connect this line on my armhole. So that's one line, 1 inch line we just marked. Place it properly, and then you connect it neatly. Curve it into the 1 inch line that way. Okay, so on this part right now, it depends on how busty you are. Okay, how busty you are, or how busty your client is what will determine, how much inches you are going to be deducting from your armhole, and then from your waist area, and then from your under busts. Okay, so this project we are working with is actually a medium-sized project, a bust 34. So we can either deduct a 0.5 or a 0.75. Whatsoever we are deducting from this armhole is the same thing we are going to be deducting from the waist. So you cannot deduct 0.5 here and come and do 0.75 here. You cannot do 0.75 here and come and do 0.5 here. So whatever you have here should be the same thing as what you have on your waistline. Hope you get that. Okay, so it also determines how well fitted you want the bodies to be. Okay, so I'm going to be using, because I want it to be properly fitted on the client, I'm going to use a 0.75 here and then a 0.75 here. Okay, so it means that we are deducting 0.75 and 0.75, and then I'm going to connect it into this 1 inch line that we have here, or connect it into my bust span line. Okay, and then we are also going to connect this into the same line. You don't do it in a hurry. You make sure that all what you are trying to do is properly positioned and well connected. Okay, so that you have an utmost that way. Okay, all right, so if you've watched this video up to this point and you've not subscribed, I encourage you to please kindly do. We love it when you subscribe, and it's just your own little way of saying thank you for all that we are doing, on this platform or in this community. Thank you so very much for your likes, your share, your subscription, and beautiful comments of appreciation. All right, So we are going to come to our under bust line, which is here. We are going to deduct 1 inch from both sides, right? 1 inch from both sides. That way. And then we are going to come to the waistline and deduct 0.75 inch. Just that's the same amount we deducted from the armhole. Do not forget the waistline and deduct 0.75 inch from both sides. This gives you a proper fitting. You don't want to know, go and try it out. It accentuates your waist properly, you know. 0.75, 0.75. So we are going to connect the under bust line to the waistline. And then connect from the under bust into our bust span line on that part where we came down by 1 inch. The reason why we came down by 1 inch is to avoid any form of pointiness on your bust line. Okay. That way. And then also connect this. The same way. Right? We impute the measurements, we have to increase this place by 1 inch. Okay, because if you notice, by the time we take this and this off, this part of the underarm hole will be it's actually very short from how it looks right now. So we are going to come up here by 1 inch. We're coming up by 1 inch, and then we'll extend it. We extend it this way. Okay, so after extending, we'll connect it again to give us a new armhole. Like this. Okay, so when we want to cut, we are cutting like this, and then like this. Another reason for this extension is that when you are joining, you don't run in shorts, so that one part will not be shorter than one part or longer than one part. So it's very important. Okay, so we're going to impute our armhole, our measurements. Okay, so our bust is 34. 34 by 7 is 34 by 7 is 7.5. 7.5. We are going to take all of this into consideration. So we deducted 0.75, 0.75. That makes a total of 1.5 inches. We are going to add it to it. 1.5 inches. So we need half an inch to join to this panel to this panel and this panel to this panel. Half an inch on both sides. That makes it 1 inch. 1 inch plus 1.5 inch. That makes it 2 inches. Then you can decide to add another 1.5 inches to it for seam allowances. That makes it a total of 4 inches. So if you add 4 inches to 7.5, that will give you 11.5 inches. Okay, 11.5 inches. And then the waist we are working with is waist 28. 28 divided 4, you are going to be having 7 inches. You're going to be having, the bust is 34. So divided by 4 is 8.5 inches. So I need to increase this by 1. It's 8.5 inches, not 7.5 inches. Please take notes, and I'm sorry about that. So the waist measurement is 28. 28 divided 4 is 7 inches. Now we are also going to put this into consideration. 7 inches. We took 1 inch out of both sides. Okay? I mean the under bust right now. We took 1 inch out of it. So that 1 inch, that makes it 2 inches. 2 inches plus 7 inches, that makes it 9 inches, plus 1 inch, half for the joining allowance, that makes it 10 inches. Then 1.5 for seam allowance, that makes it 11.5 inches. Okay, this is for the under bust. The waist also is 28 inches by 7 by divided by 4 is the same 7 inches, and we took 0.75 0.75. So just do the calculation and impute what should be there, and that is it basically. And then you connect. So our princess darts bustier is ready, and then you just cut it out. Okay, and then we draft the back panel, and we are good to go. So we've cut it, and this is what we have and what it looks like. This is what it should look like when you cut yours. We are going to use this. We are going to use this to, okay, so we are going to cut the back. Okay, we are going to cut the back. So I will use this to cut my interfacing, my wording, my paper stay, my stay, you know, to give it a bit of stability and firmness. So I'm going to do this. I'll show you how to draft the back, how to cut the back. Cutting the back panel for the dress. So I've already rolled out my basic line, as you can see. This is the neckline for the back. The neckline is actually a turtleneck. The front neckline, the depth is 3 inches and the back is 1 inch. It's actually the norm though. Okay, 1 inches by 3, and then we have a shoulder slope, we have a chest line, we have a bust line, and then we have a waist line. Okay, and then this from here to here is the shoulder line. From here, like I said, here to here is the shoulder line. Okay, down here to the chest line. So at this point, we're just going to impute a bust span line, and then impute a measurement, connect a princess dart. In this back panel, we are not deducting anything. Okay, connect it. That way. Okay, we'll come to an armhole line, but let's curve it out first. In this back panel, we are not going to deduct anything. We're not going to come in by anything or deduct anything. So we are going to measure what we have here and divide it by 2 and add 1 to it. Okay, so we have 8.25 here. So we divide 8.25 by 2. We have 4.1. 4.1 plus 1, that's 5.1. Okay, that way. And then we'll connect it to a bust span line. That way. Okay, and then we'll come up here by the same 1 inch. That was what we used for the front panel. You can come up by 1 inch for this back panel, or by 0.75. Okay, so I'm using 0.75, and then you connect it. Okay, and then you create your new armhole for the down parts. That way. Okay, So basically, we are almost done. So you just input your measurements, and that is it. So I've imputed my measurements, okay? And this is all we need for the back panel. Please do not forget to add your zip allowance. This is my zip allowance. I folded it in by 2 inches, okay? By 2 inches. This is it. I folded it in by 2 inches. So please do not forget to add your zip allowance. So we are just going to cut it out now, and the back and the front panels, okay? This is the back panel, this and this, and this is the front panel, this and this. So we are going to use it now to cut our lining and fusible interfaces, okay? I'm going to cut that, attach it or infuse them to the fabric, and then we start. We are using the hip and butt allocation method. So the full length we are working with is 41 inches. 41 inches. This is our starting line. Okay. This is going to be our starting line. Our starting line. So we'll get our length now. The hip, the entire length we are working with, like I mentioned earlier, is 41 inches. So from that 41 inches, we are going to deduct the half length, and the half length is 16.5. So if we deduct 16.5 from 41, we are going to be left with 24.5. So I'll put out 16.5 this way. This 16.5 right now is the half length, okay? Is the half length. So I'm putting out a 16.5. I'm placing my tape roll this way, and then we'll measure our 41 inches. Okay, 41 inches, and add 2 inches seam allowance to it. I'm going to square up my lines. I'm going to square up my lines. So we'll look for our hip points. To get our hip point, I'll still put out my tape roll on 16.5 inches. The hip point from shoulder to hip is 25 inches. Then we'll also get our nail point. Shoulder to nail is 37. I'll square this up as well. So the hip measurement, we're going to input our hip measurement. The hip measurement is 37. The hip measurement is 37. We're going to divide our hip measurements by 4, and that will give us 9.25. So this 9.25, we want to introduce our hip allocation at this point. This 9.25, which is the 1/4 of the hip, we are not going to use the exact 9.25. We are going to reduce it by 1 inch. So we are going to be using 8.25. Okay, and then we'll go ahead to add our 2 inches seam allowance to it. The waist measurement is 28 inches, and then we are dividing it by 4. That will give us dividing it by 4, that will give us 7 inches. But before we do that, we are going to bring whatsoever we have on the hip line to the waistline. Whatever we have on the hip line, we are going to bring it to the waistline. And to the M, we have we'll bring the same to the M. And then we draw a straight line. This is to enable us get a proper hip allocation. So if you have watched this video up to this point and you've not subscribed, I want to encourage you to please kindly consider subscribing. Do well to subscribe. Tap on the subscription button and tap on the bell. The bell enables you to get notification each time we drop new video on this channel. So after imputing this line is the hip line. So we have to take it all the way from the waist area down to the M. So we have to come to the waist area now to impute our waist measurement, which is 1/4 of our waist, 7 inches. Okay, add 2 inches seam allowance, but let's do our darts first. Our dart is 3.5 inches. 7 inch the bust span is 7 divided by 2, that's 3.5 plus ½ inch, 4. Okay, so this is our darts line and this is our waistline. So plus 2 inches or 3 inches, because after we take our darts, let's add 2.5 inches to the darts line, to the waistline. 2.5 inches allowance. Okay, let's connect our darts. We are taking our darts by 5.5 inches. Okay, we are making our darts, the length of our dart to be 5.5 inches. Hope you're understanding what I'm doing. Okay, and then ½ inch from both sides. Okay, and then we connect it to this line. If you have any confusion, any question, please kindly drop the question for me on the comments below. I'm going to attend to it. So this is our dart. Okay, so at this point we are going to come to our hip line and do this. We are going to measure 1 inch upward. Okay, and then 2 inch downward. Okay, all of this we are doing here is for the hip allocation. So I came to the hip line and then I came up by 1 inch. At the same hip line I came down by 2 inches, and then I'm going to connect from my waistline. Okay, my waistline from this point to the 1 inch. This way. Okay, and then from the 2 inch I'll come down to the end of my skirts, I'm going to my whatever we have here, which is the line, whatever we have at the hip area is the same line we've extended to this M line. So I'm going to deduct 1.5 inches or 2 inches from whatsoever we are having here. You can either do 1.5 or 2 inches. It depends on how fitted you want it to be. Okay, how fitted or how penciled you want it to be. Hope you understand. So I'm going to connect from these 2 inches down to my M. This way. Okay, and then I bring it down. So this is how to get your hip allocation. Okay, so if there is a place you do not understand in this video, kindly backward it, watch it over and over again, you will understand it. Okay, so basically our front panel for our skirt is ready. So if you want to cut a pencil skirt, it is the same method. Okay, the only difference here is that we are going to be attaching a upper panel, okay, to the skirt to make it a dress. But basically this is how a skirt panel, a pencil skirt panel or a pencil skirt block is being drafted. Okay, especially when you are introducing a hip and butt allocation. All right, so we are going to cut this off now and then use it to get our back panel. So we're going to use this now to get a back panel. So we are going to be cutting a back panel now. On this part of the fabric, the folded part, I'm going to be measuring out 3.5 inches. You can follow us on our Instagram handle at Fashion Boss Innovations. On Facebook, like our Facebook page at Fashion Boss Innovation. Follow us on TikTok. We even have a Facebook group, Fashion Boss Innovations, where we share ideas and all of those. Please kindly note that on this channel we upload sewing tutorials and tutorials on headwear such as auto gele, turban, fascinators, hat making, and anything that is being used to adorn the hair. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly do. We encourage you to do, because it's actually a place to be. You have a lot to benefit from this channel. Kindly subscribe, and if you are a returning subscriber, we appreciate you. Like I always say, without you there is no fashion boss. So please just get that straight. You guys are fashion bosses. Okay, you guys keep us going. So I've measured out 3.5 inches this way, and then I've ruled it down. So I'm going to bring my front panel and place this way. Okay, I'm placing it on the 3.5 inches line. Hope you can see properly. I'm placing it on this 3.5 inches line. Okay, and then we are going to extend our hip line into the 3.5 inches space we left that way. All right, so on a hip line, I'm going to measure out 1 inch this way. I'm measuring out 1 inch. What we're trying to do right now is creating allowance for our butt allocation. We are trying to get the butt allocation Don't forget, we've already gotten the hip allocation. Right now is the butt allocation. This is how to make trendy wears right now. That's why you can see people who knows how to use this pattern. When they make their outfit, you can see the butt area is properly accentuated, well seated, you know, and all of that. Okay, so I'm going to measure out. I've measured out my 1 inch, so I'm going to connect it into this line on the waistline. I'm connecting it to the waistline this way. I just connect it straight into the waistline. Okay, connect it straight into the waistline that way. Then I'll come down here from this hip line again. I'm going to measure downward 8 inches. From the hip line again, I'm going to measure downward 8 inches. 8 inches, okay, like this. I'm measuring out 8 inches, and then I'll pick up my ruler. From the same hip line, I'm going to connect it into the 3.5 inches line we roll out initially. This way, I'm going to connect it, slant it into where we have the 8 inches mark and into the 3.5 inches line. Hope you are understanding what I'm trying to do. If you do not, please kindly drop your question on the comment section. Okay, I'm going to attend to you ASAP. Connect it like this. We are trying to create room for our butts to sit on properly, well accentuated. So I've connected. You can see what you have there. So I'll just get my armhole curve and make this place very realistic. I don't want any pointiness around here. You get? Basically, we are done. So what is left for us to do right now is to add our zippers allowance. Okay, I usually use 2 inches for my zippers allowance. By the time I turn, I'll be left with 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to chalk out from this line right now. Okay, I'm going to chalk out my 1.5 inch. Sorry, my 2 inches for my zipper allowance. That way, I'm going to follow this line and mark out my 2.5, my 2 inches, pardon me, for my zipper allowance. I'm going to follow the curve. I'll keep marking out 2 inches till I get to the hem of my skirts. And that is it basically. Okay, so I'm going to flesh it out using my ruler. So this is what we have, and then we are going to cut out. Basically, this is how to draft your skirts using the hip and butt method, the hip and butt allocation method. Okay, other ways, but there may be other ways, but this really works out well for me. All right, so this video is in two sections: the cutting and the sewing part. This is the cutting part. Look forward to the sewing part. If you've learned anything thus far, kindly like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video.